Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Magnolia Pines Homestead. I'm trying to remember to say that. I'm back from my first Homesteaders of America conference, and I wanted to share some of my experiences that we had there and just from what I heard last year, how it changed. So really did have a great time, and I'll share that with you. But as you can hear in the background, it is feeding time. So let's get the pigs and the chickens fed, and then we'll get started. Good morning. There's Prosciutto, Mary, Pippin, little baby to be determined. Prosciutto. Hey, little guy. Johnny, what are you looking for? I think that's chicken code for food. Big pimpin'. Oh, he's letting you pet him? Pippin, I don't have any food in them. Every morning the chickens are over there doing their chicken things, run the pigs. So I have to call them over here. But Johnny does a pretty good job of telling them it's time to come over. We have an automatic door that lets them out every morning. It comes up 20 minutes after sunrise, and it goes down 20 minutes after sunset. But we always open the coop, get a little bit of air in there. This is our automatic door. We honestly really enjoy it. Like I said, it opens up 20 minutes after sunrise, so if you're up early enough, you can hear Johnny rustling around there starting to crow, and then this lets him out. And then you just got to keep an eye on it every now and then and check the batteries, but works really great. Here's our morning zoomies. All right, let's talk HOA. So this was my very first year going. I did see some posts last year of people just waiting to get in and everything. I had heard some feedback, so I was prepared this year, and we made sure that we were up bright and early. We were there just a little bit before 6:30 on the first day to check in, get our wristbands, and we were surprised of honestly how easily it was to get in. Again, I was like ready for waiting in line, like everyone was sharing like they had to last year. But yeah, we walked right up. We showed our tickets, they gave us our wristbands, and then they were allowing everyone to walk right in. Honestly, honest review, I really enjoyed it, and like the speakers that I chose to go listen to. One of the very first ones was Sean and Beth Doherty at Independent Homestead, I believe it is, or Independent Farm. I'll have to verify it and post that. But they were so informative. If I recall correctly, she said that they grow 90% of their feed and of their own personal food, which is so amazing to me and so inspiring. We had just talked right before I left Wednesday. I'd had to go in and I had to get feed and everything, and we were just like, man, this is starting to add up. So like, what can we do to start feeding our coonies, and what do we need to do with our chickens as far as growing our own food instead of just running in to buy bags of feed every week. What was really cool about Sean and Beth is that they gave us free seeds of, and I'm going to probably butcher this, but it is Mangelwurzels. They're fodder beets. The seeds are hard to find, so that's why they're giving the seeds out, and also of the Tramontino, and which was a huge gourd. And she said the seeds are hard to find, so if you can get out there so you can grow them, share them with your friends, and your family gets these vegetables back growing. They're very nutritious. They're great for animals and people. Another speaker that I really enjoyed on the first day is Jill Winger. Now, I did the same thing when we were getting ready to RV. I went and found a lot of RVers on YouTube. I followed their journey. I got inspiration from them. Now that we're getting into homesteading and we're obviously brand new at it, we are finding people that share a great information, are inspiring, and her speech was truly inspiring. So she just went over the kind of like ideas of how we got to where we are as a culture, and then how can we reclaim it and get back on track. Above all else is we create community. One of the major things that I loved from her speech is that where she said our culture has an allergy to effort. And when she said that, the whole crowd was like, ooh, that was a good one. Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, it would be easier, instead of my little struggling garden I've got right here, it would be easier for me to go to the store. It'd be easier for me to just go buy the feed that we were talking about. But I would rather reclaim what we need to become more self-sufficient. Also really enjoyed Daniel Saliton. He talked a lot about chickens and cattle on a smaller acreage and what to do even if you only have 1 acre, how to divide that up and rotationally graze every day based on how many cow days you have.
And fences and all this stuff, suddenly that doesn't migrate very well. All right? And then you start having pathogens and disease and problems. And then fast forward, now you have the veterinary medicine, you have government intervention, you have the confinement operations and the sterile environment. They try to.
Another huge one is Natalie Argo over at Hey It's a Good Life. She helped me a ton. Now, as you can see, very new garden that we've got going on here. And I had to buy all the compost to be brought in. I brought in mushroom compost. I had to bring in topsoil. I had to, which luckily we do have mulch that is not too far from here that is free. So I go and pick that up, and I added that to my raised garden beds that I've gotten here. That when I did my experimental mounds that I made with the sweet potatoes, I added in the compost and everything over there. They're actually doing amazing, which of course it would be because, that's my experiment. But anyway, yeah, she talked about worm composting. So I bought her course for that. Definitely check her out. She estimated, if I remember this correctly, when she and I were talking at her booth, she estimated that in their lifetime, she's going to save over $55,000 in compost alone, just because she creates her own using worms, which is pretty amazing. I also had a ton of vendors there. I want to say that they had over 150 that were dedicated to homesteading and related to it. They had some extra ones there. One of my favorites is Toops Organics, and I love her products. She had some out for testers. The first day, it was about like it is right now. It was 70 something degrees. It was warm. We were all running around t-shirts. Day 2 rolled around and it was a high of 54, and then the wind came out, so it felt really cold, especially to this now Florida girl, right? I was running around with my beanie and everything on. But yeah, her products are really amazing. I used the glow serum the night before we left, and the tallow and everything, and then after the flight, which we were up super early, had a flight, came in yesterday morning around like 10:30. My skin was still super soft. So if you're really interested in organic skincare, she also carries makeup, which I will be trying that next. But definitely check her out because her products are amazing. I sit in on a couple other ones. I did pop in on Eustace Conway. My dad loves watching mountain men, so I wanted to make sure to hop in there and just to see what he had to say. It was more of like a candid chat with him. And what I really loved about him talking with people that are in there, asking questions and everything was, one of the questions was, what would he encourage someone to do if they're wanting to be pushed more towards living off-grid as he does? And what he suggested, he's like, we're going to take a step back and let's start with your skills and perfecting them. And so his example was, how good are you at using an axe? And he suggested getting carbon steel, which is probably a little bit more difficult to find now, more useful, or tools that are going to last, and perfecting using the skill of knowing how to use an axe. Jake Drum was another good one. He talked more about austere medicine in the event of a natural disaster. So he shared the double tornadoes that hit Indiana. I want to say it was 1964-ish, somewhere around there. I'll have to go back and look that up. But just if power's out for that long, if you are injured, what do you need to have on hand to make sure that you stay hydrated, to make sure that you and your family are taken care of what items do you need to have on hand and at your ready so that you make it through. I obviously loved going to listen to the speakers, but for me, what I love the best is getting around other like-minded individuals. Thanks to Nicole for bringing this introverted friend with her to introduce me to a lot of the great YouTubers that were there. But I just love getting around other people that are and doing the same thing that you were doing, that they are uplifting, they share ideas, they're excited, and even, even if you might have rough days, as Jill Winger talked, they'll share those experiences, but, you might have lows, but the very next day will be a high. If you're having rough patches, don't get discouraged. Just remind yourself how far that you have made it, and that's what my husband and I are doing. You're seeing a little sneak peek right here. I haven't even shared videos of our build yet, but you have to remind yourself when, we're like push, 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 we're getting so much done, and then there's a lull, and you just feel like you're a little bit discouraged. But you just have to keep reminding yourself again of how much you have accomplished and what your long-term goals are. So hopefully this helped you out. If you are considering going to the Homesteaders of America next year, I would encourage it. I'm looking forward to going back. I want to take the husband with us. I would love to honestly take the kids and just kind of do like a trip, because it's a very history rich area. We did explore there when we were traveling in the RV a few years ago, but there's so much more that we didn't do, and I would love to go back. It's very close to the Shenandoah National Park, and so there's a lot of great hikes in the area. So I'm really looking forward to going. I encourage you to go, and above all else, take a notebook with you. The back of the catalog that they gave us had one page full of, for notes. Not enough. I was borrowing sheets of paper from Nicole so I could take notes. So I highly recommend doing that. Thanks again for hopping on. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this content, and subscribe to follow our barn dough build journey back here that's going on, and just sharing us. We're brand new homesteaders and complete newbies at gardening everything, so we're just sharing our journey and hopefully inspiring you to do the same.